Andy, how you doing?
Good. How are you? Yeah.
Fantastic, man. Fantastic.
Say your name. Reagan.
Regan.
Regan. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Uh, how do you say your last name, Andy?
Brodkin. Brodkin.
Good deal. All right, man. I was just going through some of your Instagram stuff. I know I originally found you on TikTok. Yeah.
And which? Because I'm kind of doing like a few different things. I didn't even ask you what stuff specifically. Was it the coaching stuff, legal stuff? I
Uh,
also do.
what else do you do?
Why I'm also working on like an e-commerce thing too as well.
No. Okay. Okay. Yeah. No. I was looking more at the coaching stuff, and I do remember you did. Yeah. There was a couple things that you had going on there. So yeah, explain that to me, man. That's a unique scenario. What got you doing such diversified things like that?
Yeah, sure. So basically, I kind of went like a traditional route with my life path, and I went to college. I was going to law school. I got like a corporate legal job for a year, and I just decided for me, I just couldn't do the whole office type thing, and I needed to try to find another avenue. And I think that's like pretty common these days with a lot of people, or more so these days. And I just kind of thought to myself, what can I do? What do I have? What can I try to leverage to figure out how to make money and just kind of be like self sufficient and financially independent and all that. So,
I like doing it on your own terms. I like that whole concept in
yeah,
and of
yeah,
itself.
yeah, exactly. So, I didn't have much of a plan. I kind of just left it and, immediately just started trying to do things that I thought maybe could work out for me.
I love it. That's the best kind of adventure, man.
Yeah, no, definitely.
It's funny how it slithers into like a whole nother realm of thing that you didn't see manifesting itself too.
Yeah, no, definitely. And yeah, no, it's been an interesting journey so far for sure. It's definitely tough and stressful at times, but I've been enjoying it.
Good deal. And you're in California, where
Yeah.
I know it's expensive in and of itself, man. So it
Oh,
takes a leap
yeah.
of faith just to be able to fight through
No,
that.
definitely. Yeah. At first, especially, you're just not making any money. And it's like, all right, I have rent to pay, I have this, I have all these expenses. And you really start to see like how quickly, stuff starts going down when you're not making anything at first. So
Yeah. So on that note, what do you think it takes to catch traction?
the catch traction.
Yeah,
Uh,
whether it be TikTok or whatever.
yeah, no, I mean, I'd say in terms of like marketing is probably the thing I'm the worst at right now. So that's I'm kind of figuring that all out. I'd say in terms of organic marketing, I think TikTok's definitely the best for like free marketing. It's the easiest to go viral and get exposure. I'm still learning how to make them and I'm getting better at them, but that's a whole skill in of itself. And then there's a lot of paid ways you can do paid advertising uh, through like Instagram or Facebook,
How
those
do,
type
how do
of
you
things.
feel about the paid stuff? Because I'm not a huge fan of paying for something I
Yeah,
can
no,
grind through.
exactly. I mean, I try to not do it. I do a little bit of it, but I think it's something you don't want to do unless you have something that already works. I feel like so.
Oh yes, I agree. If I found a magic moment and I
Yeah,
believe that I can replicate it 10 or 20 times, then I'd be a fool not to try to see if I can give
yeah,
it
no,
that
a
extra
hundred
kick.
percent. Um, yeah, I mean, if you find something that works, and you're like, I can make, I could scale it up if I started paying, then yes. But yeah, I mean, at first, especially, you're just trying to make money. You don't want to just be spending money and not having anything. But I mean, I do think it's like easier today than it's ever been to try to market yourself without paying money and trying to pave that way. So
I only wish I would have came to that conclusion 2 years ago when COVID started and everybody was trapped and forced to
yeah,
give you
no,
their attention. I didn't think
yeah,
that I didn't have the foresight to see that. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I wish I would have, man.
When did you start this podcast?
I'm gonna say 4 or 5 months ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So you're actually episode 45, man. You're episode 45.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Glad to be on.
Yeah, I love it. I didn't know how this was going to play out, just like you said with your story. I put no money in, and I thought it was just going to be me and my daughter. Things changed. The whole thing started moving. And I'll be honest with you, it looks like now my goal is just to amplify and push you guys. So my goal is to make you look better. My goal is to make your ideas come out as best they can. I actually kind of enjoy that. It gives you the motivation to kind of push my content. Because if I make you look good, why not, right?
Yeah, no, awesome. I love it.
And it's more fun because people like to talk, man. So I watched you doing some interviews on the beach. What got you started doing that?
So I guess that part of my life, I've talked about this a little on my channel before, but basically, for a lot of my life, just never like was super happy with like school or work. I never found that much like meaning or purpose in it. So I really just like directed all my attention to like meeting girls and doing that. So I just, when I was in law school, spent so much time just going to the beach, like striking up conversations with people and doing all that. And yeah, I mean, through doing that, I realized that that is like maybe a thing or a skill I generally enjoy doing. And, other people might, I mean, it's a hard thing to do, to push yourself to do that, to just like talk to strangers and really put yourself out there. And I thought that was like another skill I could use to try to leverage to, help other people with and try to make a business.
I liked it a lot, even though it had a little elements of like awkwardness to it a little bit, which made it way more genuine, which I also didn't like.
No,
but I had another person say something about with dating, because I saw you dabble in dating a little bit too, on just the life coach stuff. That one guy said, if you're not good at talking to girls, at least introduce yourself every time you see the prettiest girl in the room.
Yeah.
It was like these little incremental steps, because I never was really good at either. Unless I locked eyes and it was real obvious that it was on, I wasn't really good at talking to girls, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely.
So
I mean, I feel like a lot of, even people that, meet a lot of people, meet a lot of girls, whatever, it's usually through kind of more organic ways of meeting people. Whether it's meeting people through friends, joining clubs through college, I'm in this frat, she's in that sorority, that type of thing. And even at bars, it's like different. Everyone's drunk and it's more socially, everyone's doing it, But yeah, I mean, I'd say there's less people that really just go out there during the day sober and just like talk to people. And
we're talking sober and you're fighting with the phone.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that, with making the videos, that definitely.
Because every 20 seconds they want to touch that phone, man.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, it's wild. It's a whole nother conversation now. On that note, I saw you talk about the flow state. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah, no, definitely. So, I mean, this is, obviously a term a lot of people have used. But, I mean, I've just noticed it for myself more so with snowboarding is my favorite thing to do. Whenever I go snowboarding, there are just moments where you're really just not thinking about anything else going on in your life. You're not thinking about, what you have to do in an hour. You're not thinking about all the concerns and other things you have. And you're really
you're just lost in the moment. You're just literally lost in the moment. Yeah.
And I think I think that those moments are meaningful for people. It brings you a lot of clarity and it makes people happy. And I think that it's good to try to push yourself to be in that spot more often.
You should pursue passions anyways, even if you don't get that flow state for a moment. But yeah, man, I do notice that when you do that, all of a sudden things can escalate so fast, it's unbelievable.
Oh yeah, no, it's crazy.
So Andy, how often do you go snowboarding, man?
Yeah, I mean, so that's definitely throughout my life gone through like different periods. Growing up, I went to Vermont a lot, like
No
once a
kidding.
month. That's when I first started getting into it.
Are you
After
from New
college,
England?
no, I'm from New Jersey,
Okay.
but yeah, we would. My friend had a house up there, and we just do like a 4 hour drive and just go for the weekend. And that's one of my favorite memories as a kid growing up.
I'd go skiing in Massachusetts all the time, man. I grew up in Connecticut.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice. What was your home mountain?
Say again?
Did you have a home mountain, like a local resort you went to?
No, we there was just a bunch of little ski spots, man.
Gotcha.
Northern Connecticut had one with a black diamond. No, it didn't have a black diamond. The one in Massachusetts had a black diamond.
Hmm.
The one I yeah, we just go to have fun. It was something you could
Yeah,
drive to in like an hour. And yeah, my
yeah,
favorite was snowboarding too, and I miss it, man. My kids never got a chance to do any of that.
yeah. No, it's a lot of fun. I love it. But
I was
after
hoping you were gonna say you were doing it like in California. Isn't there some mountains out there?
well, after I went to college, I lived in Colorado for a year,
Nice.
and I was just a Lyft operator and went every day.
That's
And
great. That's a great yeah.
yeah, now I go to Big Bear a bunch here, and I go to Mammoth when I can as well. Mammoth's a great mountain, so
Very cool. Yeah, you hear about Big Bear, everybody talks about it.
yeah. I mean, it's definitely not as good as the Colorado mountains, Mammoth, but it's nice because it's always like 50 and sunny, so it's not super icy normally, and it's just like a good environment, and yeah, I like it a lot. And it's close to San Diego, so
Nice. Um, I really do like your coaching stuff, so I think I'm going to focus on that if you don't mind.
yeah, no
You
problem.
talked a little bit about habits and the mind changing when you break those bad habits and get into better habits and just rewiring the way you look at things because perception is a big deal and it's something I've been working on for a couple of years and I
Hmm.
do find that your words do matter, the way you structure your thoughts matter, and I'd just like you to elaborate on that if you could.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, in school, I majored in brain and cognitive science and psychology, and this stuff has always been super interesting to me. And I've always thought a lot about this and read a lot of books about all this type of stuff. But I mean, just generally, I guess uh, the way your brain kind of like processes and like understands information is that you don't experience every new experience as like a unique thing. You learn to like see patterns and recognition, and that's how you perceive things. So that's true of your perceptual experience, and that's also true of your behavior. So if you start behaving in certain ways, if you start seeing the world in certain ways, and you keep doing that, it just keeps reinforcing itself, and it keeps kind of making that connection stronger. So, to the point where you're not really conscious of it, right? It's like a habitual, ingrained experience that just keeps repeating itself that you're used to. You're not really aware of it happening, and the way to kind of break those is once you realize they're happening, you have to like be super aware of it and like super conscious of what's going on and very strongly, deliberately trying to change that pattern or behavior. And then, that's really hard to do. But once you do that, if you make yourself, if you keep doing it over time, then you'll start to like, rewire that new behavior so that when you're not thinking about things, you're acting in a way that's better.
Yeah, and being deliberate is not an easy task. Getting in the
No,
weeds
definitely
is
not.
real easy, man.
Definitely. Well,
Yeah.
because it's a lot easier to just go through the motions and not think about things and just follow the same patterns you've always been following your whole life. So,
And we definitely do live in like a narrative state the way we act out like a story.
oh yeah,
You
no,
know,
definitely.
so you're definitely on the right track on something on that. Is there any way you could tie that into the ego conversation?
Uh, yeah. I mean, I honestly, I think that's a little different, but uh, the main thing I have to say about that is, um, I mean, I think ego, first of all, is like a very hard term to define because everyone will define it differently. But what I really mean by that is that it's very easy to do things in your life because you want other people to approve of you and you want to other people to look at you and think that you're successful or smart or whatever. And I think that that's a natural human thing, but if you're leading your life like that, it's really easy to take yourself to a place where you're not going to be happy because you're not doing what you want to do. You're letting your ego in that sense drive you into an area where you're like, I want to make more money than this person so that people see that I have a bigger house than them or I have a better car or something like that. And, I think there's meaning in having money. Like if you can, you know, do things that you enjoy doing and you have freedom and you have, money to give yourself experiences that are fun for you. But I think if your life is structured around, I want more money and more power because I want to feel superior to this person or I want other people to, admire me, it's not going to lead you in a direction that's, aligned with kind of like your purpose or what's going to make you happy in life.
That makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. Um, yeah, how did you get started with all this? How did you get started with TikTok? How did you get started with?
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess that all kind of started when I left my job and I started my own law thing first. And that was a lot easier because I could do a lot of it freelance. So I didn't have to do marketing or anything. So I could just apply to jobs, here's a degree. I'm a lawyer, I'm a little younger than other people doing it. So that's like a little bit of a hurdle. But, that was a lot easier to kind of start with coaching type stuff. It's super hard because there's no like real like certificate or degree that you can I mean, you can be a certified coach, but there's no like real degree you can have where people are like, oh, this guy can help me in some way or provide value to me. It's not like you're a psychologist or something. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I started making YouTube videos a while ago, and then I'm like, uh, realized that TikTok's a better way to reach more people quicker. Um, so, learning to do all that and learning to market and do all that is just like a learning process in of itself for sure. I
I
realized
what?
when I first started doing that I had no idea how to make videos, and I still don't know that well, but I'm learning as I go. So
I was gonna say I'm learning as I go too, man.
yeah.
So what is the biggest failure you've had so far that you've had to overcome? Because I'll be honest with you, failures, if you don't let them eat away at you, are actually far better than a success.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, there's definitely like a lot, that you deal with all the time. But I'd say one of my biggest ones is before I quit my job and went down this path, I just decided I wanted to do YouTube, and I'm like, I'm going to be a YouTuber. And
Okay,
I was
like
like
Mr. Beast, like a Mr. Beast kind of
yeah, yeah.
scenario. Yeah,
And I
yeah.
was like, just so convinced that I was going to be able to do this. And I just was underestimating how much that went into making a YouTube video. Basically, I would just see these other videos of guys, talking to girls, talking to strangers, saying dumb things. And I was like, oh, I can do what they do, and I've watched them a lot. I can emulate this. But then I realized there's also so much more that goes into making a video. I was like, I don't know what editing is. Like my camera's terrible. Like I don't know how to make interesting content. And I realized that there was so much more that went into making a video than I thought there was. And that kind of like demotivated me at first when I wasn't like gaining any traction with that. And I had to kind of take a step back and be like, what do I really want? It's less of I want to be a YouTuber. I don't really care that much about that. It's like I just want to be financially independent and be like running my own businesses. So how am I going to do that?
Yeah. And yeah, when you find out, you're like, man, this is time, labor intensive. This is
Uh,
knowledge. Who wants to learn how to play with all this software?
Yeah, no, definitely.
I really wanted to push a button, talk to you, and everybody like us.
Yeah, right. And that's yeah, and you're right. And there's just so much more that goes into it. And I think especially a problem with that is it takes so long to get to the point where you make any amount of money that uh, it can be pretty demotivating
It's
when you feel
daunting.
like
It
you're
is
making
daunting.
progress. But
And,
yeah,
and to be honest with you, you need that longevity because when you do catch something, you're going to want backup behind you
yeah,
to catch that momentum with you. If you don't have that net to catch, you're not going to get the full benefit of that one magic moment.
yeah.
And I got one guy, the French guy there, that's like 3 or 4 episodes past the ones I just published. Dude, he threw my whole game off. I'm like 40% female now.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, my demographic got skewed, so and I didn't realize it. I wish I would have pushed out more stuff right after him, but I didn't know he was going to be that big.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, he put another 25, 30% on the whole yeah, he threw me off big time, man.
and this was your fourth guy, you said?
No, 4 guys back from the guy I just published yesterday.
Okay.
So I wish I would have pushed a little more. Thanksgiving was coming, and
Mhm.
like I said, I didn't. You don't. You think you know, but you don't know
Yeah, no,
what's
definitely.
truly gonna catch.
Yeah.
And I do find myself wanting to catch a trend when there's a new TikTok. I'm like, man, I just want to jump on it. I want to do it too, but you put all that time in, you may not catch, and who knows what content
Yeah,
should. You
exactly.
just don't know.
And it doesn't scale up like a regular job or like with most things where it's like you're like, all right, now I have 3 clients now, I'm making this much money, this much money. It's like a thing where it's like, the waves are kind of just like, there's nothing, and then it can be exponential, and it's just
Well,
like
I
putting
think
up.
it will be after the longevity has been played through.
Oh yes, definitely. Once you really get there,
Yeah.
for sure. But it doesn't scale up in the same way as like doing a
No.
standard type thing.
And it's wild, man. But it's a fun adventure because you learn new stuff, and I feel like every time you learn something new, and you break through the desire to quit.
Hmm.
You know, I feel like a part of you grows beyond what you thought it would be.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I kind of like the adventure in and of itself. I am trying to do this without putting any money in, which is impossible. I'm so frustrated.
Yeah, no,
I tried to, yeah.
that's definitely hard. So how do you get most of your guests? You just
Oh, I grind it.
constantly.
I grind it out. So I will go through TikTok for hours, look for someone slightly intriguing. If they got an Instagram, I go right to their Instagram and say, man, I like your stuff. How would you like to come on the podcast? Literally, it's just a cut of the same conversation. This is what I do. And so I just cut and paste the same conversation and just
Yeah, yeah.
blanket hundreds of people.
Hmm.
And then I hand pick the top best ones for the next couple weeks. You know,
Yeah.
I got really stuck on comedians for a little while. Really enjoyed them because it's a fun conversation. Then the life coaches kind of like felt in there. Some guys that do a lot of working out. I'm into that. I had a guy. I was really hoping to get one of these guys. He's one of those strong men. Picks up rocks
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff. I was
Yeah,
like, man,
yeah.
I got to get this dude. I haven't gotten him yet, but I'm trying.
No, that'd be good.
Yeah. So it's not like I have one, and I thought I would just have like one group of guys or something like that, but it's not like that, man. It's there's too much out there to hyper focus on just one thing.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to promote whoever comes across as the best candidate.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I like it, man. I enjoy it. It makes for a unique insight in what it takes for someone to put themselves out there. People
Oh,
don't
yeah.
realize the level of bravery it takes to actually go through this.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Yeah.
And especially to like um really like be yourself too, and like put yourself out there in a way where you're like, this is like, I'm not putting on a face,
You have no
it's like,
choice. You have no choice. I tried to be a dumbass, or I tried to be a little bit of a smart ass in a couple things, and it doesn't really work out because you can't bend the reality. And even if
Yeah.
you can, it snaps back anyways. And if you're in this for the long run, you really have to be at least the most genuine you can be.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that also benefits you too, because I think people appreciate when people are authentic, number one. And number two, if you're not being genuine, you know, you don't want to have to every single time you do this, think about like, oh, I shouldn't say that. They don't know this about me. Like I can't, you know, and
Yeah, you
like
got to
try to
memorize. You got to memorize it.
control
I'm
your
not. I
behavior
don't.
in certain ways. You know?
Oh, they will. People will sniff it out real quick, man.
Oh, for sure.
It'd be better to be bad and honest than to be semi mediocre and have to memorize all the nonsense.
Definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, shoot, man. Once you do get momentum, what is your long term goal? Like, do you want to just do TikTok? Do you want to just coach? Do you just want to put it on YouTube? Do you want to?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I'd say my main goal is really at the end of the day, it's just like financial freedom where I want just enough money and like time to be able to do what I want and not be like tied down to a certain thing. So, you know, in the winter, if it's a Tuesday and I see it snowing a foot in Colorado on a Wednesday, I want to be able to be like, all right, I'm going. Like, you know, not have to like ask my boss or anything and just, you know, be able to do that and have the freedom to do that. But yeah, I mean, I think that is done through yeah doing a lot more coaching type stuff. Also, like with like e-commerce type stuff, you can make like you know more passive type income, and you know ideally, like I don't care that much about being a YouTuber, but if you break some threshold where you can be making money from your videos, that also helps as well. uh, and still doing legal things, but obviously that just requires a lot more active work consistently.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. With a law degree, man, and I assume you can practice law, right? You've got the bar exam, baby bar,
Yeah,
all that
yeah.
stuff. Why not just go down that avenue? Would that not be the faster way to get financially free? I'm just okay, like a what if scenario. Take
Yeah, no, I mean,
most of the lawyer.
yeah, I mean, I think that uh, it's definitely faster, and that's you know, I started that first because it was easier to do because it also just makes more sense to do. Like the coaching thing is like you know, even in today's age, pretty out there to do. And there's not like, it's not that easy to figure out how to do it. The law stuff, it's like, you know, I have this degree, I'm a lawyer, you know, I can try to do this. But at the end of the day, I, uh, I don't mind doing legal stuff, but, uh, you know, amplifying that up to like a really high level and focusing only on that. Uh, First off, is always going to require a very large amount of active work unless I get to the point where I own my own law firm and I just other people are doing everything.
But you're looking at
Uh,
30 years, and by then you won't be able to snowboard
yeah,
anyways.
yeah, exactly. And also, it's like I genuinely enjoy uh, the coaching type stuff. You know, I love going around just talking to people and you know being a goon
Yeah, no,
and
I love it. Yeah, I enjoy it too, man.
like yeah like you know that's like even by myself like most people don't but I just love being like all right I got 3 hours I'm just going to walk around and talk to people and say ridiculous things uh, and I just like enjoy that stuff a lot more and
I
yeah
have met one life coach once that actually would just live with the person for like 2 weeks. They had a set rate where I hang
yeah
out with you and I yell at you to get up early in the morning and I tell you what to eat and I tell you to go to the gym and then I walk around and I tell you what to skim off at your business and I'm just like
wow
what is it called like not like a parrot on your shoulder but like I guess you could say something like that and that's what she did, man. a rich guy would just pay her for her time for 2 weeks, and she'd literally live in the guest bedroom while just getting up in the morning and motivating this guy to do stuff. And I guess that's not actually an uncommon thing, actually. Have you ever thought of pursuing something like that? I know David Goggins has done it a few times.
Yeah, no, that sounds pretty interesting. Honestly, for me personally, a hard part about the coaching journey too is like me thinking about like what I actually wanted to do within it, right? Where people are like, "What kind of coach are you?" And I'm like, "Confidence." Like I don't know, but
Yeah,
I mean,
you have
for
a broad
me,
spectrum of topics that you bring up.
exactly. But part of that it like makes it harder because like it convolutes the message. I feel like a little bit or dilutes it. If if I would never want to be like a dating coach type, like specifically. But if it's just a lot easier to like focus on that and be like, this is what I do. That this is how I'll help you. Personally, I don't want to do that because I mean, for a variety of reasons, but like one of them being, uh, I don't think that a lot of people that I talk to, need a lot of like guidance in their life, finding purpose and like figuring out what they like and like improving their lives. And like if you're just living like kind of a meaningless existence and you're just like, I need a girlfriend, like I just don't think you're like focused on the right thing to make you happy. So, um,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think
I
you
mean,
touched on that. I think you touched on that actually in saying that should be a byproduct of
yeah,
finding
no,
fulfillment,
exactly.
not be the
Exactly.
fulfillment itself. But I think personally you might be barking up the wrong tree because I think the dating thing is bigger than you think.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever been on Tinder before.
Yeah, no.
For dudes, it's miserable.
Oh, no, okay.
It's absolutely well. Here's the statistics that
Oh,
I
no,
that I
no. Yeah, no, I know all this. Yeah, yeah. No, of course.
So I'll be honest with you. As a dude, if you're anywhere in the spectrum of normal or average,
Yeah.
it is far better to just go talk to a girl in person.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah.
And I mean, I
So
think even
so
if,
yeah, I'll be honest with you. If 90% of the guys are down the middle, 90% of the
yeah,
guys aren't doing a good job at getting a girl.
yeah,
That's a big fucking market.
yeah. And I mean, I think that's true. If you're a really good-looking guy, you do better on it.
Oh, you do way better. You post some
But I
things on
still
Instagram. You put on a
that
big smile, and
yeah, but I still think that guy, if he was like going out there and talking to girls or increasing his status and stuff like that, he would still be doing better than he would for himself on Tinder.
ooh, that's a
But
good point. Okay, okay. Maybe sell that like that. Because I'll be honest with you, man. A lot of guys just give up. They say they end up
mhm.
playing video games, jerking off, and just chilling at their mom's house or whatever. But
Yeah,
seriously, and then what good is that? I mean, now
yeah,
you're bored, you're lazy. You've just put yourself down 3 notches and gotten to that loop that you're talking about.
yeah, no, 100%, and that's an issue as well. But I mean, I just think to close that out, like uh, what I really want to do though and help people with, I think there's like way more meaning than like, oh, like I met a girl or even meeting a girl I really like in the satisfaction of getting to a point where you're just unbothered by criticism and what other people think. Like at a really high level of being like, there's 8 girls there. I want to talk to that one and I'm just going to do it. And maybe I'll get rejected. Maybe I get her number, but I care very little about what happens. I just think that's something I want. So I'm going to do it. I
Yeah.
don't care what people think. Like that higher level, like mental satisfaction, I think is like much more valuable than being like, I got a girlfriend now.
Yeah, yeah. You
And,
got to
but
think
it's
of it
like
as
less
almost like a
tangible.
game.
So
Yeah, you got to think of
yeah.
it as almost a game instead of taking it so personal when they reject
Yeah,
you.
no, 100%,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. And I think that's another thing that people have a hard time overcoming is rejection in general. I mean,
Mhm.
with these dating apps, it's another issue. Is
Yeah.
rejection is almost like subverted almost,
Hmm.
you know? And I don't think
Yeah,
I
it's not as personal in the apps.
yeah, because I don't know how old you are, but I'm 44. I had to do it the good old fashioned way. We had flip phones.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, you had to look me in the eyes. Yeah, that
yeah,
made a big difference, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I feel like that's an issue too. People are on their phones so much. It's people are not communicating in person as much, and I think it's affecting that.
Well, that's another thing you coach people on is upgrading their Instagram. Because if that girl even slightly likes you, or the first thing they do when they stop talking to you is go on their phone and see your persona on the internet
Oh yeah. Hmm.
immediately. Oh yeah, yeah, immediately.
Yeah, and that matters.
It
It's
matters. It matters way more than you think, which actually kind of doesn't make any sense.
hmm
Why would you leave the real thing to go see the fake thing to make your
yeah,
judgment call on the real thing?
yeah.
I don't
Well, I mean,
know.
I do think that like relates to status in a way, which is
True.
like
Ooh.
honestly, compared to how good looking of a guy you are, how confident you are, matters way more. Like if you have a blue check on Instagram, you're just, you know, dating is easier for you than for anyone else, regardless of anything else about you.
That's a good point.
I really think that's like the biggest, you know, factor. But
Who knows, man? I don't know.
mhm.
Yeah, dating's been a pain in the butt for me personally, to be honest with you. I find it frustrating at best and
Mhm.
exhausting. But what are you doing right now? What is the main focus that you're doing right now? What is your what has changed since you started?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I'd say the main focus right now is I'm kind of at a point with, uh, you know, my law stuff is definitely the thing that's, you know, I'm working at the most because I'm getting the most out of it. Uh, the coaching stuff, I'm, you know, still trying to grow and figure out how I want to do it and, you know, how to work that. And, then I kind of have like a spin off like of the coaching with like kind of like an ecom type thing where I'm kind of just making mindfulness and action sports designs with t-shirts and trying to do that as well.
Yeah, the
And
e-commerce thing, man. We got to get into that a little bit because that's actually a kind
yeah,
of a cool concept in and of itself.
mhm.
So, is this something where you're trying to sell stuff on Amazon? Is it something where you're
Yeah.
just trying to sell bulk?
Actually, I applied to merch by Amazon and they denied me, so I'm not
How
even.
does that work? Because I've never tried.
I like, you know, just like kind of with the coaching type thing, even more so with e-commerce. I understand very little about e-commerce. There's so many, you know, different things people do, whether with drop shipping or print on demand or a variety of other things. Um, you know, and then there are other people making money as coaches selling courses on e-commerce. Uh, yeah, so that's an interesting thing. But for me right now, I think the most effective way to get into e-commerce, and you know, this is speaking as someone that knows very little about it, but is doing it in a way where you're researching products and seeing what's selling and seeing like uh, who's you know what product people are buying, and then trying to you know get that product in your store, um, you know, drop ship it from AliExpress and immediately get into it that way. But the way I'm trying to do it is make it my own kind of brand, kind of with the coaching type thing. Uh, you know, so making kind of like mindful, like brain and action sports designs on like t-shirts and trying to, you know, sell those. So
I think one of the things that makes this so difficult is all of it's so fast.
yeah,
Everything moves so quick,
yeah.
and then everybody's attention just turns, and then you got to start all over again.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
Isn't
And
it
that's
crazy? It's crazy.
yeah, hmm
And that's another
definitely.
thing too. It's like if you get too hyper focused on one thing, everything can fall apart. Because if
Yeah.
everybody goes squirrel and your thing was good and now it's not good anymore, now you got to start from scratch and there's no diversification. And I don't know. I don't know how to hedge against that personally.
Yeah. No, I mean that's super hard about it too. And I think the people that are super successful in it, even though say that's how they learned to do it. But what was more satisfying for them in the end was once they like, you know, made their own product and were and like moved on from just like the drop shipping aspect of it and finding what's selling. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a tough thing to get into. But uh, yeah, I don't know. I think it's a good avenue to explore.
So I heard someone say once, instead of competing, creating. Is there any way to come up with a new idea before it comes out? Be a
Uh,
trendsetter kind of scenario.
yeah, I mean, and I think that people are definitely feel better when they, if they can figure that out, right? If they can figure out a new idea rather than just competing with everyone else.
Yeah, because one minute someone's making their own T-shirts, another minute
Yeah,
someone's selling an idea, the next minute someone's drop shipping, and you know it's not going to stop. You know there's more,
yeah,
right? We every time
yeah,
we think this is everything, this is the confines of what you can make money. 10 new things come out of nowhere.
yeah. No, definitely, definitely. So it's definitely, if you're on that path where you're, one of the first to be part of a certain idea that takes off, you're definitely going to do well.
Yeah,
But one thing that is, I feel like, just nice about the world now is, obviously starting any business is extremely hard, but you can try a lot of different things without putting a lot of money into it and seeing like what you like and what works for you. I think that, a while back, if you wanted to start a business, you're like, I have to get office space, I have to do this, I have to buy all these things, and then, that might fail. And
yeah, yeah,
then,
yeah. It's a
you've
terrible
wasted
idea.
all that money. Now you can be like, okay, like I'm going to try to drop ship this. That's not working. I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to try to
Yeah,
do that. And you can just like explore more and try to figure it out without just putting your life savings into one thing.
yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, because I'm not that. I've got way too much on my plate to be dropping too much money. On that note, do you know how much I spent so far doing this in the last 4 months?
How much?
$30.
Wow.
That's it, man. No, to be honest, I still owe my buddy who gave me the microphone and all the setup. I still owe him $100.
Yeah.
We have an agreement that I'd pay him in a couple months if this
Hmm.
worked out, or I actually did. But I didn't even know if I was going to publish anything. My pilot episode was probably by far the worst audio podcast ever created by any human being on the face of the planet.
Yeah.
But I had to have the bravery to start somewhere,
Hmm.
and I had to publish it. Do you understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
No, no,
I was in
definitely.
a position where it was either this goes on or this all ends today on the
Yeah.
first day.
Yeah.
So I published what I thought was by far the worst thing on the planet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a big part is you just have to start, right? And then
Yeah.
once you start, you try to figure it out as you go. But most people don't start, So
Yeah, yeah. I think if you're already started something, you're
yeah,
75% there.
yeah,
It's this weird little maneuver to find out what is going to be the thing I'm going to replicate 100 times.
hmm,
You just don't know what it is. Because I personally thought when I started this, I was like, okay, me and my daughter are just going to hang out and rant.
yeah,
And then we were going to do topic orientated stuff. Dude, I don't want to do topic orientated stuff. And then I was like, man, no one wants to hear another news thing. So I'm like, shit, what am I going to do? I was like, this is fun to do. Why don't I go see what other people are doing? Then I was like, you know what? Why don't I just ask why they started doing it? And it just
yeah,
escalated from there. Started doing videos. Then I started peeling out people's stuff from their Instagram, popping it in my video so you don't have to stare at my ugly mug all the time. And it actually works out pretty good, man. I don't know. Have you watched any of my videos?
yeah. No, I watched a couple of
They're
them.
not that bad. I
Yeah,
have no idea what I'm doing.
I mean,
No idea.
I've only seen some of the more recent ones though. So, I mean, I'm gonna check back and see like, where you've come from episode one to, you
They're
know.
terrible. They're absolutely terrible.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you learn as you go, though. It's yeah, most people when they first start anything are definitely not good at it. So
Well, it wouldn't be fun if there wasn't a journey.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Andy, I appreciate it. This is great.
thank
Where do
you.
you see this going in 18 months? 18 months to 2 years.
18.
Ideally, if you had a magic wand and you said, bam, Andy gets whatever Andy wants.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say, you know, everything kind of shifted. So I'm making more of my money from coaching and ecom. And then, occasionally still making money from legal stuff when I'm doing that. And, kind of just being able to wake up on a weekday and, still be working hard and growing my businesses, but being able to be like, my friends visiting for 5 days, I can just kind of, I can get lunch with them on Tuesday and Wednesday and not have to like, you know, deal with, either working super hard or having to, any obligations in that sense, and just like trying to achieve that kind of like financial freedom goal.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't realize this, but someone pointed it out the other day. When you go to a gym, you sit there all day and you just people watch. You could tell who owns the businesses and who works for the businesses just based on what time they get there. Or when you go to
Yeah.
like a golf, go to the golf course and watch the guys at 5 o'clock. They work. They work all day. The guys that are there at 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock, those guys
Yeah.
own the place. And there is
Yeah.
a big difference in lifestyle.
Oh no, 100%.
Yeah. So the problem is though, 90% of the time, I know that things have changed dramatically with social media and stuff. But 9 out of 10 times, you got to be old to be rich, or
Yeah.
you got to
No,
be young
definitely.
and poor.
Hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
really hard to enjoy that money at 55, 65 years old. Now, granted, we're going to live to be 100 now. That looks like the reality of
Hmm.
the spectrum of things. But I'm 44. I don't want to be rich at 65. That
Yeah.
sounds miserable.
No.
That
Yeah.
sounds like
No.
a bittersweet scenario that my son's
Yeah.
going to enjoy way more than I will.
Yeah. No. Definitely. Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I just think uh, I think there's kind of like a mistake in thinking like I'm going to be working very hard and not enjoying my life for like 40 to 50 years so I can be like rich when I'm, older and like retire like 5 years early or something like that. Uh, yeah, I mean, I don't
Even
know.
if it was true, it sucked, but normally it's not true. All my neighbors are
Well,
retired.
that's
All my
true.
neighbors are
Yeah.
retired, and yes, they were able to pay off their house. Yes, they have brand new cars, but they're not living that much different of a life than me, except for they're not doing anything.
Yeah.
They don't have the luxury to go to Spain tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what was the 40 years for?
Yeah.
So you
No,
could just sit
exactly.
home and watch TV and scream at Fox News or scream at CNN, and then go to Thanksgiving and hate your family because you're arguing politics because all you had time to do was walk the dog and watch the news. I don't want
Yeah.
to do that. I don't even watch TV at all.
Yeah. No, that's true too. And I also I think there's an issue with a lot of people don't ever really find out what they like to do because they have just been told what to do and they just do what they think they're supposed to do.
But that's
And
what
then they kind
99%
of,
of the poor people do now.
yeah.
Yeah, you're just
But
part of the
even,
poor people.
but even like some people that have more, maybe not super rich, but some people that are, upper middle class to rich, they still just, they're like, I work at this big bank. I make a lot of money. I work really hard. And then when I'm 60, it's like I have this money and they're like, but what do I do? Like, I don't know what I like. Like, my whole life was work. Now, now what?
Now I got to figure out what game I want to go see.
Yeah, yeah,
Do I
yeah.
want season tickets to football? I don't even know.
Hmm.
Yeah, that sounds miserable too. So I don't know. It's a tough game, I've got so much stacked against me. I got 6 kids, man. Do you know how daunting that is?
Yeah, no, I'm sure that's well. Yeah, when I was thinking of what me taking the step that I did, I was like, I don't really have many obligations. It's like an earlier spot to do this, but yeah, I
Oh
guess
yeah,
we just
do
keep
it,
doing it.
and
Yeah,
never regret the fact that you at least gave it a try.
yeah, no, exactly.
You'll regret it the rest of your life if you don't, man.
Yeah, no, 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 100%. And that I think that regret can be
You
pretty
have to carry it. You
overwhelming.
got to carry it with you.
Um,
Yeah, I don't regret it because I didn't think of it back then, but I wish I would have thought about it that back then. It didn't dawn on me to do any of this stuff when it first came out with all YouTube. I would have had no idea that my son would watch a guy play Roblox for an hour.
Yeah. Yeah, but that, no, 100%. But that, I mean, that is to the point, though, that I think it is easier now to try to do more things, right?
Yeah, so
I feel like when you were young, there's less things that you could do, right? Like, there are less. I mean, could you have done this podcast? Possibly. It wasn't really a thing, right?
I'll be honest with you. I remember I was doing construction with my dad like 12, 13 years ago, and the economy kind of tanked. So my dad's like, you got to find something else. I ended up in nursing or whatever. But I remember talking to my buddy, a real good friend of mine. He's actually been on my podcast twice already. And he was like, you're really good at talking. And you like BSing with people. Why don't you try to do a Howard Stern thing and go to the radio station and see if you can get yourself like a Hannity and Combs thing or something and just find another person to bounce off of. And I didn't take him seriously. I had 2 kids at the time. I was like, man, I got to get a structured paycheck every week. And he was one of the first guys I called when I came to this conclusion again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because podcasts didn't exist. There was no Joe Rogan. And,
well, he kind of like started it, right? And I mean, it started.
Oh, it existed way before him, but it was useless.
Yeah, he like brought it to like the, now everyone has, more people are making podcasts.
Yeah. I just got to outlast them, that's all.
Yeah, no, and be unique and just keep going.
You'd be shocked. It's not as saturated as you think it is. I just got my ratings back and everything. Yeah. I put out more content in 3 months than 93% of the people in my genre.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, I do think
it's only like 40. That's only like 40 in 3 months. I could easily do what I did again.
No, definitely. And I think that's true too, that like people get nervous that like markets are saturated or what they're doing, there's too many people doing it. But the amount of people taking it very seriously is always like way less than the people that are like you that are really going for it, right? There's probably a lot of people that made like some podcasts are like, this isn't working and just gave up, right? The people that like really stick to it, I feel like they have a higher chance of making it for sure.
Well, the reason why I got this equipment is 2 buddies were supposed to start a podcast. They got into an argument. They never started.
Yeah.
This thing was sitting in this dude's closet for like a year.
Awesome.
Yeah. He's like, I'll give it to you. You give me $100 if it works out when tax return comes in, and we'll talk about it then. Don't worry about it. So, like I said, technically, I'm $30 in for the camera right in front of me, and that's it so far. Because I already had the computer. A couple years ago, I was like, maybe I'll start day trading. So this is my day trading computer.
Oh, did you start day trading or no?
Yeah. Well, okay. So when the economy collapsed, I jumped right in. Everything was at the bottom.
Yeah.
How could you lose? You could close your eyes and pick anything and you were going to make a profit. So I did great, right? So I'm all excited, and I slowly started giving back, and then I'd make a little bump, and then I slowly started giving back, and I was like, shit, I'm a year and a half in, and I'm not making real progress. I eventually am going to give all this back. So I'm like, I got to try something new, and that's this, man.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, it's just I don't want to watch TV anymore, and I want to waste my time, and I want to focus on something.
Yeah, no, that's part of it.
Do you know what I mean? And I like this. I enjoy this. I look forward to doing it. I find that I have to find clarity by being honest and talking to people, because otherwise it's just complete bullshit.
Yeah.
So there's been guys I've listened to. There's been guys I've talked over. Sometimes you think it through. Sometimes you, I don't know. You don't know how any of them are going to play out. And which ones are going to be the super cool ones. Which ones are going to be kind of weak. There was a tile guy. I had no idea. Dude had like an IQ of like 160. Invented all this extra stuff. I had no idea. I stumbled upon all this extra. Yeah. I stumbled upon all this extra stuff. And we could have easily talked for 3 hours. But who the hell wants to watch? So I'm going to be honest with you. I was thinking about it. Who wants to listen? Truck drivers want to listen. I think I got to find a way to wiggle my way into some truck drivers. I want to hear some lot lizard stories. I want to hear something crazy.
That's true. I mean, I think, yeah, no, that's a good point. Because a lot of people listen to podcasts, but, even and I love Joe Rogan, but it's like sometimes I see this like 3 hours. I'm like, I don't want this is like too long.
Yeah.
But I think that, truck drivers, people that are like doing something for like a very long time where they can just listen, are a good kind of like target audience for this type of thing.
Yeah.
For sure.
So my thing is, if that's even close to my target, I've got to talk to a couple of these guys. I know they got wild stories.
You should get them on for sure.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how to catch them. So far, right now, I've used TikTok. Well, the great thing is, instead of wasting my time watching girls twerk their ass or some guy giving a motivational speech or whatever nonsense, some guy pouring water on somebody or whatever, or prank, I literally use it as, okay, who's going to be the next guy with an idea that I've never seen before or intrigues me or interests me. And I'm scrolling just like I was before, but for a purpose.
Yeah, I mean, so just a quick question on that, because this is something I'm trying to do now. How do you balance trying to be like a creator, or in your sense, finding people, with like not just be a consumer and like getting lost and like all this? Because like if I wasn't trying to start my own business, I would not have a TikTok. Like it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
But I need to start making stuff, and you need to start finding people. So I feel like it's tough to strike a balance between like you're there to find people, I'm there to make content, but like I don't want to just scroll through mindlessly for 20 minutes. But it's hard not to sometimes, at least for me.
I get caught in the weeds. I'm not going to say I don't get caught in the weeds, but again, I've got a purpose. So if I could get 50% of that nonsense to be purpose, then I've reached 100 guys. And if 100 guys, 10% say yes, that's 10 guys.
Yeah.
That's a lot of guys for me. Because I'll be honest with you, I tried sitting here and talking by myself. That shit sucks. It gets old real quick.
Yeah.
And if you don't have it, written out almost like Shakespeare, you're completely wasting your time. And you better be damn pretty to be sitting in front of that camera for 5 minutes. Who the hell wants to look at you?
Yeah. No, 100%.
So, the best thing I could give you for advice is how I got there. When I originally did it, like I said, it was me and my daughter just ranting. Then it was going to be content creation, like just come up with our own ideas. Then I was like, okay, then it'll be topic. We'll talk about AI. We'll talk about self-driving cars. And then I do the research. But that was daunting. That was days and days of research. And you don't even scratch the surface, so you don't really know everything, and then you feel like you need more. So I'm like, shoot, why don't I just find something that's trending? I'll go on TikTok and find something trending, and then I'll talk about that. And all of a sudden I realized, so when I went on TikTok, I didn't even go for the reason why I went. It was a totally different reason. So it's kind of like you got to go down and you find a rabbit hole for yourself. Maybe it's those conversations on the beach. I'm not going to lie to you. Those are kind of cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. But having it progress into something completely different than what you originally thought it was going to be, I think you have to be so open-minded that you accidentally find something more than what was there. It's almost like you're in the desert and there is an oasis, but you can't see it. Yeah. But if you're open-minded enough and turn back around and bam, what was always there, now you can see it. It's kind of how cause I have unlimited people. I have unlimited people. And the only problem people have with podcasts is they never have unlimited people. And I'm like, man, I would love to have David Goggins on. His ass ain't going to come on here unless I have 20 grand.
Yeah, no, exactly.
That's not happening.
Well, that's part of the issue too. Like, I'm not going to name specifics, but there's some podcasts where like the podcast hosts aren't actually that good, but they're influential and they have people know them, so they can, and they have money, so they can get like guests on that people know, and then they can just post like, oh, we got this famous guy on our podcast, and people will watch it, but. I feel like that's like a hard hurdle to overcome.
That doesn't bother me a bit, to be honest with you, because I'll be honest. How long can you play that game themselves? I don't know. And if they can do it forever, good for them. That's fine. But I'm not in this to care. It'd be like worrying about what other people are selling on Amazon while you're selling something.
Oh yeah, no.
It's kind of irrelevant, isn't it?
Yeah, no.
So for me, it's really irrelevant. Now, if I had money, I give you my word, I'm getting at least Mike Tyson or someone awesome as shit, because I would love to just have the chance to talk to these people, let alone brag about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's also just the money and the status gives you the opportunity to do more things more easily, I guess was my point, where it's like these people that aren't good podcast hosts can still do it because everyone knows them and they made a podcast. Or it's like this guy that's famous just decides he's going to sell, a clothing line or alcohol right now, and that's just going to work because he's famous, and like that type of like pull is like very powerful. And but it's like I don't think there's an easy way to necessarily get there. I think.
Okay, here's another thing that people have to take into consideration. Let's take Mike Tyson. This will be a great example. If Mike Tyson wants to sell weed, he's going to be able to sell weed just like you said. He's famous. It's going to be so much easier to sell Mike Tyson's weed. Irrelevant of if it's better quality weed, if it came from a better place, it's packed. But here's the deal. No one realizes that it took fucking 10 years to become Mike motherfucking Tyson.
Yeah.
So you still have to add 10 years of bullshit.
Yeah.
Just like if I have to put 10 years into this, it's the same. It's still relevantly 10 years, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like, I don't think there's really truly shortcuts. Just like I said, you can bend reality and lie, but reality will snap back in your face.
Yeah, and I agree.
Yeah, I think it's a long. You got to be in the long-term game, and here's another thing that I do realize, and I think I missed one of my moments with that French dude. When you get something that does work, you got to repeat it immediately.
Yeah, no.
You are the trend.
Yeah.
Because someone has to invent the trend. It's kind of like everybody's like, oh, that song's trendy. It's bullshit. It's cookie cutter pop music. Well, if it was fucking easy to do, everybody would do it. It's not easy to be a one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
It's 1,000 times harder to be a Taylor Swift and do it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
But the moment you catch it and you don't replicate it, you're an idiot. And like I said, I think I already missed a small one already. But again, every time you fail, a failure really is just, wow, I just learned something that's phenomenally new that I've got now that I guarantee I won't do twice.
Yeah.
And so just whatever it's going to be, I'm going to get that Mike Tyson eventually. And the great news is, I got a couple politicians, and last week I did a guy who literally is running for the president of the United States of America and is on the ballot on 14 states.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or one of those comedians. What if they take off? Not saying he's going to win. What if he won like Utah or Montana or something, one of those states that only has three? Dude, do you know how huge his podcast would reverberate back onto me?
Yeah, no, definitely.
So if I do 2,000 Andes and one makes it, that could be all the difference in the world. And then I just got to be ready.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And I got to have a net behind me of a bunch of shit behind me for everybody to watch.
Yeah, no, that's true as well. Because if that's all you have, then it's not going to stick.
It's not going to stick. So say I spent 10 grand on Mike Tyson, I'd be screwed. Yeah. I just blew 10 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't look at it as it even matters. But I do look at this. I did the 2 years with the stocks. Now I learned a lot, and I'm still playing with dividends and things of that nature because, like you said, I want money that's constantly making money. I want to constantly be in a position where there's several things going on at once that all are slowly trickling in towards me. But I got to move on. After a couple of years, I got to move on or change my tactics drastically. Maybe I do need to put a persona and become Larry the Cable Guy, who isn't even a fucking person. You know what I mean? Or whatever it be. Maybe I have to, you know what I mean? But I don't know. I enjoy trying to figure it out.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, on that note, I think you're doing great. I like what you got. I'm gonna try my very best to push this and make you look as good as possible.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on.
Andy, I appreciate you coming on, man. It's like an hour and a half at least, almost 2 hours. You might be a record breaker for me.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right, man. You enjoy your weekend. Merry Christmas if I don't talk to you again.
Yeah, you as well.
As soon as this is published, I'll let you know. I got about 7 or 8 behind you.
All right, cool.
I found my problem became finding people. Then once I found people, it's publishing this stuff that becomes an issue. Because I want it to be the best I can do.
Yeah.
With what I know.
How long does the editing normally take you per video these days?
If I crush it, like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But people don't realize these sites, they don't upload fast. So say I spend an hour making this look as pretty as I can, then I compile it all. It takes like 45 minutes for the editor to compile it all, which they're all free. You can buy the complicated ones, but they're all free and they're really cool. Then you upload it to Spotify. That's like another hour. Like this one may take 2 hours. I don't even know. I've never had one this long before. So now I'm sitting there waiting. I don't want to mess with anything for 2 hours. Then I go to YouTube and I got to upload it to YouTube. That takes another 2 hours. So now I'm like 8 hours in because we talked for 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a lot of bullshit, man.
Yeah.
Like I said, I wish I could have just pushed a button and everybody just liked me.
Yeah, man, you're good. You made it.
Anyways. All right, man. You have a good night. I got to go to work in the morning.
Have a good rest of your night.
Yeah, you too, man.
Weather is good. Sun is shining. Shining. Don't get my vibe.